The late 19th and early 20th centuries in America were a time of immense change. This period, known as the Gilded Age, was marked by rapid industrialization and economic growth. But beneath this glittering surface, a darker reality was taking shape. Powerful businessmen, often called robber barons, amassed vast fortunes by forming monopolies. They controlled entire industries, crushing competition and wielding enormous influence. Railroads were the lifeblood of the American economy. A handful of powerful railroad companies dominated the industry. They used their power to fix prices and stifle competition. The rise of these monopolies sparked widespread concern. Farmers, small businesses and consumers felt the squeeze. The unchecked power of these corporations threatened free enterprise. Public outcry against monopolies grew louder. People demanded government intervention to restore fairness. This set the stage for a showdown between the government and the Northern Securities Company. A showdown that would redefine the relationship between business and government in America. At the dawn of the 20th century, a bold move shook the American railroad industry. Three powerful railroad tycoons, J.P. Morgan, E.H. Harriman, and James J. Hill, joined forces. They created a massive holding company, the Northern Securities Company. This new entity was not in the business of running railroads. Instead, it owned the majority of stock in several major railroad companies. The Northern Securities Company controlled the Northern Pacific Railway, the Great Northern Railway, and the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. Together, these railroads formed a vast network spanning the Northwest. This gave Northern Securities a near monopoly on rail transportation in that region. The formation of Northern Securities sent shockwaves through the nation. Critics saw it as a blatant attempt to stifle competition and control the flow of commerce. Farmers feared higher shipping costs. Businesses worried about their goods being held hostage by the railroad giant. The public watched closely, wondering if anyone would challenge the might of Morgan, Harriman, and Hill. The creation of Northern Securities was a direct challenge to the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890. This law, passed a decade earlier, outlawed monopolies and trusts that restrained trade. However, the Sherman Act had been used sparingly and its effectiveness was still uncertain. The Northern Securities case would put the Act to the test and determine its true power in regulating the excesses of corporate America. Theodore Roosevelt, who became president in 1901 after the assassination of William McKinley, was known for his bold personality and progressive ideals. He believed in a square deal for all Americans and saw monopolies as a threat. Roosevelt was determined to rein in corporate excesses. The formation of Northern Securities presented a golden opportunity. He saw it as a direct affront to a fair marketplace. Roosevelt instructed Attorney General Philander C. Knox to file a lawsuit. The decision was bold, pitting the government against powerful men. Morgan, Harriman, and Hill vowed to fight the lawsuit. Roosevelt was undeterred, knowing the case's importance. He aimed to set a precedent for future antitrust actions. The stage was set for a legal showdown that captured the nation's attention. Section 4, The People versus Northern Securities, a landmark case, goes to court. The case of the United States versus Northern Securities Company began in 1902. It quickly became a media sensation. The public followed each twist and turn of the legal battle. The government argued that the Northern Securities Company was a combination in restraint of trade, violating the Sherman Act. They claimed the company's existence stifled competition and harmed the public interest. Northern Securities countered that the Sherman Act did not apply to them. They argued they were simply exercising their right to own property. They claimed their actions did not harm competition or the public. The company's lawyers argued that the government was overstepping its bounds and interfering with the free market. The case moved through the courts, eventually reaching the Supreme Court in 1904. The nation eagerly awaited the court's decision. It would determine the fate of Northern Securities and the future of antitrust law in America. Section 5. A Nation Divided, Reactions to the Supreme Court's Decision. In a landmark 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the government. They declared the Northern Securities Company in violation of the Sherman Act and ordered its dissolution. The court's decision sent shockwaves through the business world. It was a major victory for President Roosevelt and his antitrust campaign. The public reaction to the decision was mixed. Many celebrated the breakup of Northern Securities as a victory for the common man. Farmers, laborers, and small business owners rejoiced at the prospect of a more level playing field. They saw the decision as a blow against the unchecked power of big business. However, others criticized the decision as government overreach. They argued that the government should not interfere in private business dealings. Some feared the decision would stifle investment and harm the economy. The Northern Securities case highlighted the deep divisions in American society over the role of government in regulating the economy. Section 6. The legacy of Northern Securities, a turning point in antitrust law. The Northern Securities case marked a turning point in American history. It established the Sherman Act as a powerful tool for regulating monopolies and promoting competition. The decision emboldened President Roosevelt and future presidents to use the power of the federal government to challenge corporate power. The case also had a lasting impact on antitrust law in the United States. It affirmed the government's right to regulate monopolies, even those formed through stock ownership rather than direct mergers. The Northern Securities case set the stage for a wave of antitrust enforcement in the early 20th century. The legacy of Northern Securities can still be felt today. The principles established in this case continue to guide antitrust policy in the United States. The case serves as a reminder of the importance of maintaining a balance between free enterprise and government regulation. Section 7. Conclusion. The enduring significance of the Northern Securities case. The story of the Northern Securities Company is a tale of ambition, power, and the struggle for economic fairness. It is a story that continues to resonate today as we grapple with the challenges of regulating corporate power in a globalized economy. The Northern Securities case reminds us that eternal vigilance is necessary to safeguard competition and prevent the concentration of economic power in the hands of a few. It teaches us that the government has a crucial role to play in ensuring a level playing field for all businesses, big and small. The case also serves as a testament to the power of individuals to make a difference. President Roosevelt's determination to challenge the railroad trust, the public outcry against monopolies, and the Supreme Court's landmark decision all played a part in shaping a more just and equitable economic system. The legacy of Northern Securities is a reminder that we all have a stake in ensuring a fair and competitive marketplace